Today, the earth stood still. In London and Paris and Lisbon and Stockholm and Berlin, in cities great and small, in grand public squares, in offices and shops, in schools, everything stopped. In places where they too have suffered the pain of death by terrorism, in Belfast, in Lockerbie. And amidst the broader outpouring of sympathy, poignant gestures. These are firefighters in Budapest, saluting their fallen colleagues far away.
Plans were to take my children to school and then to go to JCC.
Where were you?
I was going to go to class. I was in grad school at the time.
I had broken my foot the weekend before, and I was going to the orthopedist to get a cast on my foot.
It was my first day of high school, first full day, so I was, really nervous about meeting new kids and, starting a new school, so. Kind of surrealist what was happening. I couldn't really process everything that day.
First thing was really just shock. I just couldn't believe that it was happening. I couldn't believe that it was really real. My second thought was to call my husband, because I was at the doctor's office, and to call my husband and to try to find out if he could tell me any more information. The next thing was really a lot of anger. Who would do that to us?
I heard people in the hallway reacting, and I had several levels of reaction because I just was not used to hearing people like crying in the office and being that sort of dramatically upset.
My dad worked in Manhattan. He still does, but he worked about a mile away from the trade center. So I was concerned about him. I knew he didn't work at the trade towers, but where he was at the time. A number of friends had aunts and uncles. One friend had a stepfather who passed away.
11 attacks. The service took place in the Church of St. Catherine. The US ambassador to Russia gave an emotional speech saying both nations share common values. Russia was one of the first countries to condemn the attacks 8 years ago.
I'm more aware of my surroundings.
My husband works in D.C., like right in the heart of D.C., and he says it doesn't really, he thinks about it once in a while, getting on the metro every day and that sort of thing. But
Connections to New York itself than I did at the time, and I visited sort of the site, and I go to Times Square a lot. I like to see plays and things like that, and I didn't used to. And I think in some ways it was almost a reaction kind of against that initially a lot of people were afraid to go into the city, afraid to go to New York, and I was like, well, I don't want to let this kind of make me change the way I live. But I mean, you can't help it.
Yeah, we're a lot more cautious. Things we used to take for granted.
The world's changed. We're a lot more focused on security. Going to the airport is a big deal now. We have this heightened sense of what's going on around us, and I really think it brought us together as Americans.
Small things like you don't realize. We had to, trash a snow globe on vacation one time because there was liquid in the snow globe as we were trying to get on the plane. We had to throw that away. We couldn't take it with us. So things like that, like I said, things you wouldn't have thought of before that would have just been second nature of change.
times I